Hello, my little mathematicians. Today I'm going to help you get started on your homework. Okay, so the first thing is on this side, it wants you to describe which letter best shows negative 112 on this number line. So here's 0, here's negative 89. So between here, it's like negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, all the way to negative 89. So this is probably about negative 50-ish, and then this is about negative 100-ish. So that would probably be the negative 112 here at A. So for number 1, I would say it's closer to A. So for your work for this one, all I want to see is like estimate these two dots. So if this is 0 and this is negative 95, this isn't exactly halfway. It's like almost. So I'd say maybe like instead of like 45-ish, maybe like 43. And then this is bigger. So I'd say like negative 100, negative 110, whatever. Okay, somewhere around there. And it wants the negative 43. So I would say B would be the negative 43, because obviously negative 43 is not bigger, or sorry, it's not less than negative 95. It's closer to 0. So negative 43 would be there. So estimate these and then show where this one would be. Would it be at B or A? And then write your answer on the answer line. Okay, so that's how you would show your work for this side. For the other side, okay, if you read the directions, it says, please write the actual absolute value of each number if needed below the original, and then use the less than or greater than or equal to compare directly on the line. And so see example 1 and 4 as an example. So you have the absolute value of negative 61 is just 61. The absolute value of 5 is 5. So what's bigger, 61 or 5? 61 is bigger. Okay, so there you go. And then number 4 was done for us. So negative 33 stays the same, but the absolute value of negative 20 is just 20. So then what's bigger, negative 33 or 20? 20 is bigger. So I'd put a less than sign or have the great big open end facing the 20. Okay, if I were to do one more with you, let's see. I'll do this one, number 9. It says the absolute value of negative 23 is just 23, but then out in front it has a negative sign. So it's saying the opposite of the absolute value of that. So it'd be negative. And then the absolute value of negative 17 is 17. So again, the absolute value of 17 is just 17. The absolute value of negative 23 is 23. Because there was that negative out in front, we bring that negative down because it wants to know the opposite of the absolute value of negative 23. Okay, what's bigger, a positive or a negative? A positive is bigger. So you'd put that sign in between them. Okay, and that's what I want you to do for all of these. Please actually write like what the answer is beneath any of them and then figure out the sign. Okay, and then for these ones, let's go ahead and I'll try this one with you guys. It says the high temperature in Miles City 1 month was 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The low temperature was negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the difference between the high and the low temperatures? Okay, so difference means minus. And what are you subtracting? What do you find the difference of? You have 70 as the high, and then the low was negative 5. So when you have two negatives next to each other, you take the opposite of a negative is a positive. So it changes to like a giant plus. So sometimes it's easier if you just rewrite it. It's actually 70 plus 5. So what was the change in temperature, or what was the difference between them? 75 degrees. And if you're like, how does that make any sense? Well, think about it. Okay, here's 0, and you had 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5 right there, and then somewhere out there is 70, right? And they want to know what's the difference between negative 5 and 70. Well, from 70 to 0 is 70, and from 0 to negative 5 is 5. So if you wanted to find the difference from here to here, you would add 5 plus 70, and that's where the 75 comes from, okay? But whenever you see the word difference, that means subtract, so I'd write a subtraction sign, and then put the bigger number, it was 70, minus the smaller number, which was negative 5, and you had two negatives next to each other, so I changed it to a giant plus, okay? Use that same type of logic for all the other problems, and my hint to you for the bottom ones, Remember that below sea level is negative and above sea level is positive. So if they want to find the difference of something, that means you're going to subtract, right? How far did he travel? Well, if he started above sea level, it says Wayne went out on a boat and started 11 feet above sea level, and then he dove into the ocean and he went below sea level 20 feet. And you want to find the difference or the distance between those. So, what's the distance between 11 and negative 20? That same thing happens. You're left with the opposite of a negative becomes a positive. So, 11 to 20, which is a distance of 31 feet. Okay, and if you like need a little visual to kind of help you see, here's the water, he's up here, and the cliff is like 11 feet high, and then here's sea level. And then when he jumps in, he went way far down and he went negative 20 below. So how far did he travel? He went this 11 feet plus 20 feet below the sea level. So 20 plus 11 is 31 feet. All right. Obviously, you don't have to draw yourself a little picture. Unless maybe it helps you. But I want to see the equation of how you got to your answer. And then for these, I want to see you take the absolute value, write it beneath it, and then put the inequality sign. All right, my little mathematicians, you're going to be an expert at absolute value when you're done with this.